G'day everyone, welcome back to another riveting and exciting adventure of VYVZ Garage. The videos are few and far between at the moment because, you know, as I've said a million times, I only video my own maintenance on the cars that I have. So today we're going to attack these tailshaft centre bearing on the VZ Adventra. So I'll just take you under the car now and show you what I've done. I've just marked it all so I know which way it goes back, something which I never do, and I haven't done it on the other cars, and either I've been really fluky and lucky, but I've never had any trouble. I just whack them back in any old way, you know. But this one, being an Adventra, it has the CV joint at the back instead of a rubber donut. So I'll show you what I mean when we get under there. Okay, here we are. So this is the donut at the back of the gearbox. I've just marked that. I am going to undo these 3 bolts. There's 1, 2, 3, because they're actually studs off the yoke on the back of the gearbox. I don't want to undo nuts and bolts here. Like, it's up to you which way you do it, but I prefer to undo the studs. There is the centre bearing. That's just the heat shield for the centre bearing at the bottom. I'll show you. So there's the CV joint in the middle behind the bearing, and here is how a tail shaft bolts to your diff on a Adventra, which is another CV joint, which seems to be okay. So I'm going to re-grease those, but I've marked it, as you can see. I don't think I'm going to film taking this out, because you just got to undo all of these, which are pretty hard to crack if they've never been undone. So the 3 I just mentioned at the front, all of these, and 1, 2, and that'll drop the centre bearing. And I'm hoping, look, I don't really know, I'm hoping to slide this tail shaft out without, I don't want to drop the exhaust, so I can actually get to everything. But whether I can physically get this tail shaft out with this exhaust, worst case I may have to drop it off the hangers, you know, to get a bit more clearance, but I'm hoping not. So anyway, I'm going to undo it all and see how we go. Alright, tail shaft's out. That's the rear CV joint. I might try and re-grease that. Same with the middle. I've got to split that there. So T50s, T50 socket. Same as, that's what the rear was, T50. I've got to split this and pull all this apart so I can get that out. So we'll come back and film that. I'm just going to, I won't film undoing stuff because I do it all the time. The videos end up too long, but you just got to undo these. So I'll do that now and we'll come back when I'm done. Okay, that step is done. There's the bolts. I use the rattle gun, it's pretty easy. So that's the back section of the shaft. Like I said, I'll probably knock the end off that and re-grease it. The next step, this plate has to come off because there's a circlip in there. So I'll have to just remove that now. I'm just going to use a flat bladed screwdriver, but I might set you up. If you're interested, you know, you can watch if you want. If you don't want, you're going to make coffee. Alright. Yeah, we did this with the rear axles once and I made a mess of it, so it's pretty hard. I'm working outside. I've just got rid of that heat shield. Ah, easy. I got a funny feeling it's been done before, but that's grease doesn't look great. Okay, so in here there is a circlip and I will show you. I'm just going to get some of the grease out of the way. Right, so my plan is I'm going to clean those out, that one and the rear one, and re-grease them. But that's it, and I'll show you. I don't know if you can see, but there is a circlip there. So I'm just going to remove that. There's no thrill watching that, so I won't worry about filming this, but we've just got to remove that, and then we should be able to remove this part. Then I've got to cut that, and on a normal tail shaft you've got to knock this bearing out, but yeah, and I think this one will be no different, but we'll just remove this for now. Yeah, I'll come. Okay, that's the clip. Pretty easy. You use these circlip pliers. There's like I call them compressors and expanders. This one's an expander. It goes out, spreads out apart. Now let me show you. Alright, so by my reckoning that should just knock off that spline. So look, I'm not going to mark splines. I know you're supposed to, but hang on, I better mate, because later on this will come back and bite me in the ass and you'll all be laughing your head off. Okay, I will attempt to mark this. Okay. Geez, how many marks have I got on this? So, what I can do, mark it there and there. Righto. There you go, you can't say I didn't do it. Okay, let me see what you can see, because I'll try and set this up. I know this is going to be a disaster, but it should knock off. Alright, I've got to cut that. Somebody's actually done this before. When I look at this, I might be lucky and spread that. Yeah. Nah. Oh yeah. So I got that off, and off it comes. So that metal band, you usually got to cut it, but there she is. I don't know why I did bother marking it, because I'm going to clean all that out, so the mark will probably disappear. Okay, so I'm just going to put that aside for now. Lever go. This is usually what happens. The rubber goes to shit. There you can see. Sorry about the camera work. So now, I've got to remember how this comes off. It should. Look, I might break the rubber, because I really don't need that bit. So I'm left with the bearing. Alright, so I've got to knock that out, so just give me a minute. Righto, this is, I gently persuaded that off. Came off pretty easy. Just sits on here. So make sure that's all clean before you go back and put it on, but I'll knock that on with a tube or something when I put it back on. So I'm just going to go in the garage now and set this up for the bearing, and we'll start filming from there. But it came off pretty easy. I knocked it off with a screwdriver and a hammer, but if you've got a drift, that's even better. These are the bits for the back, but they're pretty mangled. I'll show you all the new stuff before we put it on. Okay, So I've got it set up in the vise, but I seem to remember there was another circlip somewhere, so I got one off here, and I know there's one on the back, but why would they give... So they've given me a new circlip, they've also given me a seal. The only place I can see... See, I didn't see anywhere where a seal would come off, unless it was just here. I don't know. I really don't know. They've given me the seal, and I don't know why, because there's no real reason. I mean, I'll put that on the back. Pretty sure that goes that way, but I'm going to have to check now. So once again, back in a minute. Alright, I'm about to hammer this on. I've got a big round drift thing that I've had for years, so let's see how we go making a mess of this. Oh, look at that, you can get right up to the action, mate. I hope I got this round the right way from as far as I know it is. Alright, I'm just going to see, so that's, anyway, just to make sure that's right, I'm going to slide the other CV joint on. Gonna see if I've got it. Ay. So if that goes right up to there, really should have took a photo before I did any of this. Yeah, that looks all right. That looks all right. Yep, spot on. All right, that'll do me. So, before I put this on, I'm going to clean it and re-grease it. So, I'm just going to pull that off. But all that part of it there looks okay. Yep. Very good. Just going to double check again. Just to make sure. But I think, yep, that seats really well, so yep, all good. So I've got the new bits over here that I've got to move, so what I'll do is I'm just going to go away now and wash the CV, and then I'll put it all on, then I'll grease it. Okay, after a lot of mucking around, I've cleaned this out. I gave it a good wash. I actually pulled it all apart, and do you think I could figure out how to put this back together? I had to go and look on YouTube, but it's all back together now, and the circlip's in, and I'm just going to grease it up and put the end back on it. But yeah, all looking good. For some reason, well, you people might know, they give me an O-ring and a circlip, but the circlip is way too big for this anyway, so I don't really know, and I don't know where that O-ring would go, so if I'm leaving something out, bad luck. Yeah, so that's where I'm up to, so I'm just going to grease it all up and we'll come back. Alright, there we are, it's all greased up. I cleaned this out and put a bit of extra grease in the end of that because that's what was in there. And now it will probably serve me well to put a couple of bolts through this. Okay, I'm just going to whack 2 of the bolts through and push that on just to make sure it's lined up. All good. Pull them back out again. She's ready to go in. Good old YouTube. Yeah, I've been at it for an hour trying to get this CV joint back together. Okay, so I'm going to go out. We're going to go out. I'm going to wrap this up for today. Tomorrow we'll bolt the tail shaft back together and put it back in. Won't take long. And I'll put you on time lapse when I put it in, soon as I didn't film the removal. So we'll do the time lapse thing when I put it back in. Actually, I just had a bit of a thought. Hang on. While I've got this in the vise, I think I might bolt the other half of the tail shaft on. So I'll line my marks up and we'll put the bolts in, which as I said are 250s. See how well this lines up. Pretty good. Put them all in finger tight. Hang on, I'll bug it up already. Hang on. I'm going to throw this out of balance if I don't get these bolts in the right place. That should go there, they should be there. Lucky it's painted. So I've done the ute one before. I've got a steel band here I've got to tighten up too, as soon as I work out how to do it. I've got some other ones I might use, I think, instead of this one. Yeah, I think I've got some other ones. I'll do these bolts up and that'll do me. Yeah, I've done the ute one. It's not like this. Alright, so I'm going to get the rattle gun and my 250. Righto, where'd I put the rattle gun now? Okay. So what you do is you bend that down and you can get to these, and then I've got to move it around. Okay, I'm gonna have to loosen this off, spin around a bit if I can. Grab this one. Spin around a bit. Loosen that off a bit. Alright, show you what I've done. There she is. I'll bother back there to this snap ring. I don't really know. You crimp it together, but this is, you know, I don't know how to use these ones. The other ones I've got the band tightening tool and that, so I'll just put one of them on it. I've seen people put cable ties on them, but I'll do it properly. I've just got to work this thing out. See, that's what they've given me. It's this thing. And that goes under there and the hook's in there, but it doesn't go any further. And you're supposed to crimp it, and it's supposed to tighten up. But this one is too big, so yeah, that's not going to work. Same as the circlip that gave me, you know, it's way too big. All right, so I'm going to fix that up. I'll do that tomorrow. I've had enough for today. So we'll continue tomorrow with this, and she should be going back in. Righto, sorry, I don't know how much of that you saw. I'm just going to run through it again. What I did, where we left it last time, I pulled this apart. I didn't actually take it off. I pulled the back off, cleaned it out the best I could and re-greased it, because I just don't like putting stuff back in. When I did the front one, you probably saw I had a lot of trouble getting these rubber things on, but it's not too bad. If you do this job, you may want to pull the exhaust off. It would make it easier, but I still didn't have much trouble. As you saw, had all the dramas with that CV joint because I pulled it apart. Very easy. I spent an hour mucking around with it and I just had it all ass up. I had the wrong idea about it. CV joints, the centre. Oh, look, it's hard to explain, but I went on eBay and watched a bloke do it and I got it in first go when I went back. Now, the only thing I've left off is these clips. What they do is they clip the heat shield onto the centre bearing, just the bracket. You don't really need them, and they were too hard to manage getting the as you saw, I had this on, and when I pushed the tail shaft under, it just grabbed something and flew off. So I thought they're not really necessary, and I'd rather, if I do this again, I'd rather be able to remove that and get it out of the way. So I'll keep these clips, but they're not necessary. But yeah, new centre bearing in the middle, as you saw, re-greased all that CV joint in the middle. And what I did is up here, if you got a dugger or a rattle gun, I call them, you just use that to undo them, and I put the gearbox in neutral so I could spin it. But you can only spin it, the first thing you've got to do is disconnect it from the diff. Once you disconnect it from the diff, you can spin that around. You get all of those really easy. And if you use the rattle gun, well, people call them ugger duggers now, it'll get them plenty tight enough. But I might go around with a ring spanner now and just try and nip them up. I've done all the back. Yeah, and I'll just see how it goes. So I hope this is going to be a nightmare to edit this video, because there's so many different bits and pieces, because you cannot pause these bloody GoPros. So very hard to edit, but I hope the time-lapse bit came out. You couldn't, I just sort of had to compromise with that, just so you could see me putting the tail shaft in. You're not going to see what I did at the front and, you know, and the back and that, but, you know, I've got to film something, don't I? Anyway, I might put an edit or a voiceover over that yet. I'm not really too sure, but I hope this helps. Even though the middle bit, see, I've never done an Adventra before, and the utes and the sedans are different. So, yeah, but anyway, it came out good. I'm pretty happy with it. Apart from all the mucking around, I would have had this finished last night if I wasn't mucking around with that CV joint, but I learnt something yesterday, so that's a good thing. If I get a CV joint, I'll explain because they come apart really easy. Even if I didn't really want to take it apart, but it fell apart in me cleanup thing, and they're very easy to put back together as long as you know which way to do it, and I didn't. So anyway, you can't know everything, can you? Anyway, please like, share and subscribe, comment, you know, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Sorry, just as a side note, I forgot to mention, or I did mention the T50. So the main tool is the T50, but what were the I'll get the size. Hang on, I'll just run and have a look at the socket. But the centre bearing bracket one's a 13mm, and I'll just have a look at the other one. Okay, the other one for the front, the donut to the gearbox, is 19mm. What I would suggest, my T50 socket, as you saw, is very long. Get a short one, you'll find it a lot easier. Anyway, once again, catch you in the next one. Bye.